Guten Abend. Hello, 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 hello. How you doing? Hello, hello. Oh shit. Hang on. Sorry, I don't have my stuff up yet. Can I? No. Well, shoot. I thought I had this a bit better. And it turns out I don't. Wait, fucking. Why would I add another one of those if it doesn't work? Cool, great, yeah. I gotta do a display capture. I gotta do a display capture because I'm not playing a game today. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm not playing a game today. Let me. I wanna know, will it pay to leave me or just leave me alone? Yeah, but if you have not seen the proper flag, there it is. I know it's a bit weird with the display, but it'll be better in a sec. Trust me. So here we are. Decided to start. I decided to start you know, um, creating my own server. Well, actually, what's funny is I created this 2 years ago. It just so happens that I decided to start building on it now. I guess I don't know, but I'm having fun with it. I'm having fun with it. I'm going through here. I'm changing up a few of the things. Uh, the main thing that's I guess I'm trying to focus on is just getting the channels done today. I'll probably be here for like a couple hours. I don't I don't want to be sitting here streaming for, fucking 8 hours a day or something. I mean, I will if people want it, but I guess for me it's more like I just want to get the point across, have a fun time, and not waste your time. Even though I'm pretty pro at doing that. So, all right. So first things first. This right here is going to be the locations of the cities. Now I have a uh, game that I play that is Supreme Ruler Ultimate, and if you don't know it, it's a grand strategy game. You take control of a country, wage war or diplomacy with other countries. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. I use that game, to paint out the map for the actual country because I don't know how else to do it. And there's nothing out there that's as functional as that game is with the trainer that allows me to paint territories. You know what I'm saying? Maybe in a minute I'll show you guys. Uh, like I'll show you the terror. I could probably post it here. Hang on, wait a minute. I just don't want to go through all my Discord and stuff. I don't want to like, put people on blast and stuff. Um, should I do a channel or a category? That's my question. Because the way I'm thinking about it, if I do a category, to me it's got to be at least three or more. You know, like I can't just sit there and be like, hey, we're just gonna do this and then have like 90 million uncategorized categories. uh, trying to. Dun, 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 dun. Where's your reason? All right, here we go. I had to pull the stream up. My bad. My bad. All right. All right. Bam. So, um, we'll go ahead and do that. We'll just. I'm not sure what else to call it. But yeah. I completely forgot. I clicked that and I forgot that it pulls up the thing. So for a split second in my mind, I'm like, oh no. I'm like, what are you guys about to see? But yeah, you see, we have the flag there. If I go back to my Steam profile, right here, since I have the uh, uh, display capture, I couldn't think of the word. I don't know why. But since I have this, the display capture, I can go ahead and show you guys here. But I guess I might as well put it in the actual. Oh, other side. Might as well put it in the actual like wrong way. There we go. And boom. Heck yeah. The flag, or the map, my bad. The map. If you pull that up. So here's the map, right? The story, it starts off actually during the Boxer Rebellion in China during 1899 or so. You follow Elijah Vanderbilt, the grandfather of Jacques Vanderbilt II. Um, he comes from Austria-Hungary because you have Elijah Vanderbilt, an Austrian, and then you have Attila Horvath. Attila Horvath, his brother who adopted Elijah, his brother who adopted him, and he's Hungarian. So now, Austria-Hungary, obviously. And what happens, they come over and they take part in the Boxer Rebellion. Um, and during that, some crazy stuff happens. And then after that happens, Elijah will go over to Vladivostok, is I believe what it was. I'm pretty sure that was the. Yeah, it was Vladivostok. So he goes over to there because, keep in mind at this time it's still the Russian monarchy, the Tsarist Russia. It's not communist Russia yet. So I'm more than willing to bet they would allow some European people to come through here. And then you do that. He goes to Vladivostok, and then he meets the Urals, and then he comes over all the way over here to Cheri, which is Xherrie. I know it's a weird way to pronounce it, but you're gonna have to get used to it. if you, I'll tell you, if you want to enjoy this story, you're gonna have to get used to it, man, because these names of the cities, look, just on the left alone, okay, Ivolda Chaisna, what the fuck is that? Yolda Bay, Yolda Village, where does that come from? Nowhere, that's where I made it up. Eichstatt, Kaiserstadt, that's a historical precedent with Kaiserslautern and Josefstadt, but that's, speaking of which, that's where Vanderbiltstadt actually comes from up here. I was playing the Supreme Ruler game that I just showed you here with the thing. I was playing that, and I saw that in Austria-Hungary there was a city called Josefstadt. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I've always called the capital the Silver City because I've always just liked that name. But also I was thinking like the Silver City sounds like a weird name of a city to put out. For example, when people are like, oh, we need to go and do treaties in Berlin or something. It's like, oh, we need to go do treaties in the Silver City. I'm like, huh? I'm sorry, that sounds a bit weird. But I keep it as a nickname. Vanderbiltstadt is much more historically precedented, and uh, it sounds cool as shit. Also, every great leader has a name named after them. So, as a city named after them, I completely fucked that up. Every great historical leader has a city named after them. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. And mine is Vanderbiltstadt. But that will be the only one. I'm not gonna be like Stalin, where it's Stalingrad, Stalinabad. Just like a whole slew of stuff. Like, nah, we're good, man. Just the one will do. Okay, all right. Wait, put that down. Bring Discord back up, and let's get to business. Mark folder is ready. Okay. So, basically, I have some screenshots here of the actual game, right, that I was just showing you. And, because you see, I know geography, but if you're going to talk about, like, the detailed specifics of where, like, cities I barely interact with are, I couldn't fucking tell you. So, I went ahead and took pictures of the game, of the cities at the time. And these are the names that the cities keep, because there's actually a huge storm that happens within the story, which, if you want to figure out what happens, you're going to have to read the Silver Prelude once I finish it. But basically, it's a huge storm. Elijah comes in, he does a few things, and that's whenever the territories get taken over. Because originally, like, I know I made that's a huge map, right? But originally, over here, where the Urian Kaiserreich is, that's where the Silver City is located. That's where Vanderbiltstadt is located. So around that area, and I'm a very much a Christian man, so I enjoy these little things. But 777 meters. See, I wanted to say 777 kilometers, but I'm not sure if that's a lot. Like, that sounds like a huge area. So I could do 77 kilometers. I don't know. I like the sevens. It's a nice name. It's a nice number. It's God's number. I love it. But basically, that's where they started at. And then a thing happens with the territory, which, again, if you want to figure it out, you're going to have to read the Silver Prelude once I'm finished. But something happens in the territories, right? and then they end up expanding uh, about just the top area, right? And then once Elijah comes, they start going down here. But down here is also where the original Kaiser, the one that's like more, I guess, evil. But I want it to be nuanced, you know? I mean, like, yeah, just an evil. You know what? No, we have too many nuanced villains. He's evil. Oh, man. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. The story's still a work in progress. I haven't even finished the first draft, but I'm also 30 something chapters in, so make that shit make sense. Anyway, New Udale right here. That's basically where the original Kaiser exists and his loyalist forces compared to the unification forces of the entire Kaiserreich. Because, like, what happens is about right here, I want to say, right there, and then it kind of like goes down to there, and then left. All of that unifies from the storm and the people there. All of that unifies underneath the Yoroyen Kaiserreich. Because Elijah comes in, he's like, "Hey, we need to unify to help the people. We need to get food there, warmth there, do what it is that we do, you know." And over here is where the original Kaiser is, obviously. And then that's when eventually they'll wage war. They'll go down, do that. So get some help from America coming in because Young and America are allied. Because at the end of the day, I'm an American. I love America. I just don't necessarily agree with the everything that it does. But at the same time, it's also, you know, I think America's the best country, even if I don't think they always do good. I think they're the best country. But yeah, now you have that, and I'm gonna definitely flesh this out as I work on it. This story I've been working on for a couple years, and I haven't. I mean, like I've gotten far. I've gotten a decent number, but this is supposed to be a life's journey. Like I'm supposed to be working on this for the rest of my life, at least the way I think about it. So I'm kind of okay with going slow. You know, I don't necessarily. I don't necessarily think it's the worst thing in the world. You know. All right. So the North American cities. Basically, what I'm trying to do is I want it to be separated between cities that already existed that were in North America, right? Cities that had already existed within the Russian Far East and the East Asian areas. And then I want each and every individual city that's been created by the Udals to have like their own thing. Because the other cities, you know, the history is going to be about the same. And then once the Udals occupy the area and they obtain the area, it's basically like, okay, well, the history up until that point exists the same, but now it's just different history. Probably not that much differently because, you know, maybe I wanted to make a game or something like, okay, this entire thing right here, my doodle stuff, it's basically me uh wanting to make it like a life's journey, and I want to make video games, movies, books, and have them all be combined. And then by the time I'm done with it, just release it as like a huge as a single package, you know, and just be like, hey, here's the story of the Udals, the story of Ricardo Vanderbilt II. And then if my son, you know, kind of pass it on to him and do all that stuff, and it'd be cool to do some real life stuff with it one day. But you know, for now, I'm chilling. I forget where I was going with that. I don't know. I like talking about this. I'm passionate about this, and I procrastinate on it, and I'm severely upset at myself. All right, I got a picture here with the cities because, like I said, I don't know specifically which one is which, and there were a lot of North American cities that sounded like they were Russian or like the Far East or something. So I'm like, okay, okay. So I'm just going to take pictures of it and do it. So I went ahead and did that. Let's see. Um, I'm just gonna do it in any order. I'm not really being particular about this. The Esquimalt, yeah. You tell I've never seen these cities before. But I mean, hey, you wanna know something? I still have mad respect for anyone who like they just have a city or whatever, or they're just born somewhere and they're like, okay, let's make the best out of this, you know. I don't know. I have a lot of respect for people who don't. It's like, oh, I was born in this one area that like is not popular. People don't know about it, or maybe I just don't know about it. I mean, every place has a history. You know, it just depends on how many people know about it. Maple Ridge 2. No, we can't do that. But I don't know. I just have a lot of respect for people who they don't have high ambitions and they still try their best. Like people who just want to work at a restaurant or something, and they make that the best they can do, and they make it a very nice, presentable restaurant. They make it very clean, very, all these different things. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty dang cool, man. It's cool to see people take pride in what they do, even if it's something that's not like seen by everybody as like a good thing to do. In the sense of like, what? You're a cook? You're a fry cook? Damn good at it. You want your number 7 with extra fries, bitch? No. That's great. I mean, for real though, man. For real though. Anybody who's willing to do those kinds of jobs, and even not just that, like the sewer jobs, plumbing jobs, any kind of trade, anybody who's willing to like do the hard work that's not glamorous and not a lot of people want to do, I got mad respect for. That's why I always say I got mad respect for like factory workers and blue collar workers, but I never want to step foot in a fucking factory again. I will if I have to, but like, yeah, there's something about it, man. There's something about it that is not for me, but not everything is for everybody, and that's something that I always try to like hold on to because I feel like it's a very important thing, and yet some people just kind of don't understand that. They're like, what do you mean you don't like uh, fucking pick any movie that's came out past however long that what do you mean you don't like Snow White? What do you mean you don't like the Little Mermaid remake, the Snow White remake? What do you mean you don't like Boss Babe number 76,000? Okay? I was fatigued at it, and I'm going to stop using that word. I fucking hate that. I was tired of it when Atomic Blonde came out and that bitch tried to use high heels to take out completely hardcore trained fucking dudes. When you see her do that, it's like, no, that's not gonna hurt. I get it. It's it's an action movie. It's not designed to be 100% realistic. But the more I watch movies, the more I play video games, the more I get kind of upset when there's not realism. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that every game needs to be Red Dead Redemption 2, okay? But I am saying that when there's a lot of video games, when you reload a magazine and you like shoot 5 bullets, you have 30 in the mag, 100 in reserve. You shoot 5 bullets, reload, you have 95 in reserve. No, fuck that. Dump the entire mag, okay? Or have a magazine system to where whenever you like, I've seen games do this too, so it's not fucking out of the realm of possibility. I think America's Army fucking did this. I'm not sure, but it's like have a magazine system where no, I think Ready or Not. I think that's the game I saw. Either way, this is cool as shit. Where like you have the gun and you have your magazines, right? And when you reload prematurely, that magazine doesn't just get filled up with ammo. Like the ammo that's there stays there, and you cycle through fresh mags. And I'm like, why can't like let every game do that shit, man? That's so interesting. Oh, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's not sliding around, hopping, and quick scope 316 with a fucking AMAX or whatever the fuck it's called. That, that I don't like modern gaming, if you can't tell. There's very few games coming out nowadays that are interesting to me. And even the ones that people glaze and shit, I'm like, fucking really? You know? And granted, like, I don't play every game, but I'm at a point where I feel like you need to what's the word? You don't necessarily need to fucking I lost my train of thought. Oh, why does that happen? I don't know. It happens to everybody, is what it is. But you'll take a game like, Claire Expedition 33. And I'm not going to talk bad about it because I haven't played it, so I don't think it would be a valid criticism. Um, but I do want to say that I am fucking tired of hearing about that game. Anybody, like, oh yeah, 33 theft. Bro, the more you mention it, the less I want to play it, okay? Is that what you wanted? Is that. That's my only question, man. And I get it. I get it. Good games are good. Like good games are good. I can't argue with that. Okay? But I can argue with the fact that I'm fucking tired of hearing about it. I can argue with the fact that The Last of Us is highly overrated as well. Like, dude, I'm sick and fucking tired of people sitting here and putting these pieces of media or whatever the fuck or fuck what it is just on huge pedestals or something. I'm like, why? What are you doing? What the fuck is this? And yet, it like people just they don't care. They don't care. They're like, oh yeah, this is all cool. And yeah, if it's good and you enjoy it, fine. If it's bad and you enjoy it, fine. Okay. But I think what matters most, and not like let me try to phrase this in a certain way. What matters most at this point in humanity, it's not what matters. Objectiveness obviously matters, right? Objectively good, objectively bad. It matters, right? But it also doesn't matter because we're at a point now where like everybody's fucking subjective. At least when it comes to entertainment. If we're gonna talk about truth, as in there's one man, one woman, there's no other than that, gays weird, trans weird. Like you want to sit there and say that truth and that be objective? Yeah, sure, of course. If we're gonna talk about entertainment, things that you like to watch and everything, it doesn't fucking matter. I enjoy games that people call horrible, okay? Resident Evil 5 and 6. I absolutely love those games, okay? Like, those are just two great examples that pop up. Call of Duty Ghosts. Fucking love it. Everybody sats there and says, oh, Call of Duty Ghosts is one of the worst of all time. Yeah, but you know what? If you gave it a fucking chance, instead of getting mad because it's not exactly what you wanted, like, yes, people have to do different things to make a series interesting, and if you stay stagnant, especially if it's a yearly release, that's what pissed me off so much, right? Because think about it this way. Call of Duty's a yearly release, right? Black Ops 2 comes out, fucking banger, bro. Everybody loves it, right? And then Call of Duty Ghosts had the absolute unfortunate task of following that. How do you follow Black Ops 2? It was either Ghost or Advanced Warfare, but quite frankly, I fucking sick of both of them. No, I'm not sick of them. I love them, man. I unfairly hated Advanced Warfare, but Ghosts specifically, I always loved. Okay, I always fucking loved that, and I loved it because of the fact that I'm always a fan of slower games. I like methodical games. I don't like shit where you just run around, sprint, jump around a corner, and then unload 50 BMG bullets into me with fucking zero recoil, and then you reload, teabag me, stab me, and send me to a gulag. Like, I'm good. That's not fun. And even if there is no gulag involved, and it's just I'm good, man. I'm good. I'd prefer my XPR 50. I would prefer my Lynx, okay? I would prefer the MP443 Garage, whatever it is. Any of these things. I would prefer all of that than to this batshit insane stuff that we're getting in modern Call of Duty, modern gaming. Fuck Call of Duty, bro. That shit's passe, man. Modern gaming is absolutely atrocious. It's absolutely atrocious, and I don't. What do you do, right? What the fuck do you do? Support indie games and support people who actually make decent games. For me, that would I just play a lot of old games, Like let me show you my Steam library, bro. Look at this. All of these are old games. There isn't a single game here that's past 2020, I don't think. I don't believe so. There might be. No, but this right here is just my ready to play. Maybe Faith, but Faith is indie. Faith is indie, okay? So like you can't even sit there and say that this game's a modern AAA game because it's fucking, whenever it came out, it's indie. And I'm just kind of at a point where I'm like, what are we doing? Really? What are we doing? But you know what? Me playing all of these older games right here, this is going to inspire me for my game. And granted, I'm not the kind of guy to sit here and say that, like, we need to abandon everything that makes modern gaming good. Because trust me, there's a lot of great stuff in modern gaming. It's just buried underneath all of the leftism and the bullshit and the fucking pandering and the poor quality and the lag and the shitty matchmaking. Okay, it's buried underneath all of that. Okay, but at the core of it, you have great gunplay. You have nice, shiny, fucking looking guns. I hate the skins that turn it into a dragon or some shit. I despise that. Okay? Quote Revolver Ocelot on that. Engravings give you no tactical advantage whatsoever. And I like me a good engraving, okay? But if you're gonna turn it into a fucking dragon with wings that when you let go and press the inspect button, your guy lets go of the gun and it starts flying. Like, or whatever the fuck, man. Like, it just gets me. Because I'm like, bro, what happened to Chrome? Say what you will about Call of Duty World War II, but that's one of the reasons why I love that fucking game. Is because of the fact that they had fucking very grounded, down to earth camos. You know? And I'm a simple guy, okay? I don't agree 100% with Ocelot where it's like engravings. Yeah, of course, if you have engravings, it's not going to automatically make you shoot better. But shit, man, I want to have a chrome gun, okay? I want a chrome gun, solid plated. Ain't even got to be real chrome, get to be fake. No, it's got to be real. Okay, I can't half-ass that shit. But for real though, like, what has modern Call of Duty come to? It's come to social media influencers, crossovers that nobody asked for, um, decent gunplay wrapped in a bow with a company that doesn't give a shit about its players. I know if they gave a shit about its players, they would have abandoned all this shit like eons ago. You know what I'm saying? But no, capture victory game. I'll have to see what capture is. I think that's just the capital. I think that's what it is. Is if you take out the capital, that's what capture is. I don't know. I just do that kind of stuff. I like that kind of I like that game a lot. It's got a lot of decent stuff, and then the trainer just helps out with a lot of stuff. It does because I don't even have to sit there and give myself, the resources, the troops, all that stuff. I don't have to do that. I can play it normally, and then use the paint tool, where it's like if you take over a country, and like you what's it called? You have like weird borders, or say you're at war with them, and then you go to peace, and you're at weird borders. You know, then it's like, okay, well, I can go ahead and just paint the tool and give you this, take this, even out the borders. And I role play a lot when I do it. So I pretend like, oh, this was the treaty of insert city that we were battling at here. We're going to take this territory. They're going to take that territory. And we have a ceasefire. Okay. Like, it just some weird stuff. I want to know. Pop out chat. There we go. There we go. I just need to make sure that I can read this. And I mean, I get it. I don't have any viewers right now. That doesn't mean that I can't practice. Doesn't mean that I have to stop giving a shit, I don't know. I always put things in the top left like that. I don't know. Top chat, all chat. There we go. All right. So, oh, dude, why can't why? That's the second time today that shit's happened. I was in a call with my friend earlier and I couldn't put the Discord chat, the chat for the voice because he had no mic. The voice chat, I couldn't put that and have it on the top layer. Now this shit isn't on the fucking top layer, dude. Why? How do I fix that? Let me put it on the top layer, okay? Let me put it on the top layer. Nah, it is what it is, man. I guess I can't use that. That's why when I stream, I have my phone open, man. I'll have my phone open watching it, but I also need to, I also need to look at the city names. Yeah, it is what it is, though, man. All I gotta do is stay consistent. Just keep doing this, hanging out, do what I do, find my good time that I can do it at. And then, yeah, we just kind of hang out and have fun, I understand I'm not the most exciting dude. I don't have, like, a whole lot of moxie to me, I guess. I don't know, man. I don't know. I know I'm not the best, but I'm trying. I'm trying because I believe in myself enough to give it a shot. If I didn't believe in myself, I would have just stayed my ass in bed. Okay, all right. So then we have Victoria. See, that city name right there, Saanich. Is that how you pronounce it? Or it'd be Saanich? Either way, I did not think that was a Canadian city. Apparently it is. It's on the little island that's on the top left of North America. I didn't know that that's what that was, but okay. Then we have North Cowichan. Cowichanna, dude. Nanaimo? You just fucking okay. All right, let's see. I gotta figure out what the next ones are. All right, let me look up something real quick. Because on the map, there's a city that's named Campbell River. I'm just curious. Is that like an actual city? Like, is that a genuine city name? Because if it is, that's cool. City in British Columbia. Yeah, it's literally called Campbell River. Vancouver Island. I never knew. I didn't know that's what that island was called. Okay, we're learning new stuff today. How about it? We're learning new stuff. How about it? And yes, apparently Campbell River is an actual city name instead of just being like a name of a river. If I had to guess, I would assume that they just named the city what they named the river that the city's right next to. But I don't know. I don't know. See, that right there is why I love history. You just study it, and it's like, oh, that's so fascinating. I didn't know that that's what happened. History is great, man. It just sucks when fascism and not even fascism. Fuck that shit. It just fucks when innocent. It just sucks when innocent people get fucked up. And I'm completely stuttering over myself. It is what it is, though, man. Did I already get Abbotsford? Did I get Chilliwack? No. Okay. See, I thought I made this shit up. This sounds like this sounds like some weird shit that I would make up to make like a fictional city name for my country. But no, apparently it's a real fucking country city name. And I'm like, okay. Penticton? What is that? These have got to be like indigenous people names. These have got to be like indigenous city names, bro. Because like this does not sound like white European names. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, neither do the other names I put out here. Like, what does that even sound like? It sounds like some fantasy shit. Kelowna. All right. I will say either way, I'm having a blast. Okay. Lethbridge. I might duplicate some names by accident, and it is what it is, man. Pay attention to that, Canadians. If if feudalism took off and I was able to get territory in real life, those Calgarians, they wouldn't have to deal with the bullshit of Canada any longer. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, here we go. Fucking, I had it on the wrong setting. I was wondering why it was so echoey. Uh, well, that was an echo. Yeah, but here we are. Fuck yeah. Yeah, so much better. Oh my goodness. Yeah, very. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Oorah, devil man. Okay. Yeah, but that's all I'm saying. Canadians who live in Calgary to the left. Anything on a vertical line from Calgary to the left. Any of you Canadians, you want you want to be with the Kaiser? It is what it is, man. What's funny is I'm sure that there's like one Canadian out there who just randomly finds my stream and they're like, "I need this." Trust me, I need it too. Don't worry. Oh man. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I can just see, and that's the only thing I hate. I hate when the message says edited when it's trying to be like an official thing. And I wanna know. Well, I tell you, Demon Hunter's probably my favorite band. I always find myself coming back to them. Aklavik. And then Anchorage and Fort Richardson. That's the only thing that I would see as a problem trying to get the territory in real life. Because obviously I would love to, but that's a pipe dream. I'm not going to sit there and bank on that. But I still can create the story and the thing and make the videos and the streams and all that stuff. So I can still do that. So I'm going to do that. But if I were like if I were to actually have the opportunity to pursue getting the land in real life and become an actual Kaiser, um, I would not see how America or Russia would give up any military bases. Because I mean, there's nothing up in Alaska, but there's plenty up in Alaska. Okay, if you know what I mean. Same thing with Russia. There's nothing in that fucking Far East, but I guarantee you, there's something in that Far East that just nobody. Oh man. Yeah, but honestly though, I remain hopeful. I remain optimistic, but I also remain realistic. That's one thing that I kind of learned. It's I just realized that phrase I just said is a paraphrase of what Silver said in, I think, Sonic 06. I think it was Sonic 06, the telepathic hedgehog. And what's hilarious is Silver is a huge thing about the Yoodles. A big thing for them is Silver because I love Silver. I think it's a very beautiful thing. Silver, platinum, chrome, that kind of like bluish slash whitish metallic material. That's my favorite. And I completely forgot that the hedgehog's name was Silver until just now, remembering that. Because in my mind, I mean, everybody's a product of everything they've grown up with, whether it's people around them, the movies they've watched, the games they played, everybody's a product of that. So for me, I just find it hilarious that everything that I look at now, that I like, that I think of, the words, even, like even individual words, sections, ideas, characters, names, all of those things stick with me, and I don't remember where they come from, with few exceptions. So it's just, I don't know, it's crazy to me that these things happen like that, because I entirely forgot that Silver the Hedgehog was a character until I said I'm optimistic about it, but I'm also realistic, because in my mind that's a core part of my philosophy is be optimistic but also be realistic, like hope for the best, prepare for the worst. That's a core part of feudalism, really. That and the idea that both the answer is a combination of multiple things whenever it comes to anything, really. Even if it's a combination of something as simple as a big thing, which is the totality of it, and then a small little speck of a second thing. Even something like that, it's still multiple things. So, you know, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and the answer is usually a combination of things. That's two core tenets of feudalism. I still need to figure out the rest of it, but I mean, it's a good start. It's a good start, Bretta. Fairbanks. See, because what I would love to do, I would love to actually go up into Alaska and like, what do you call it? Go up there and build something. You know how people like colonize the Americas when there's nothing there. You know, I want to do something similar to that, where it's like I go up into Alaska, I pick a nice solid center part, and then I just build a city. Of course, there'd be a lot of things you'd have to go into that, and I'm not saying like, hey, just go out there and do it. Like obviously you'd have to prepare for it. You'd have to study the weather patterns of the area, because I mean, I grew up in Indiana, lived in Kentucky for a few years. Now I'm back in Indiana. I don't know nothing about them fucking tundras, okay? But I want to learn, and I want to do the best that I can and surround myself with people who are smarter than me. That right there is usually the core of like everything that I want to do in life. Is I need to be optimistic, but prepare for the worst. Not be afraid to get answers from people I disagree with because they might be right. And fuck, I hate I hate when I sit there and have like a multitude of things and I forget. My mind is very fragile with that stuff sometimes. I'm not good at remembering stuff. But my entire point being like I just want to promote something that's going to help people. And, I feel like if there was a real world tangible thing to it, it would help a lot of people. Because let me put it to you this way, bro. If Antifa can exist, Utilism can exist. Because Antifa is fucking garbage. Literally, bro. They probably have some fucking glory hole rooms with nothing but a trash bag on the other side. Okay, all right. That was, yeah, sorry. Phlegm. Okay. Prudo. One place I would love to visit, even if I don't make the Yudeljong, which is like you have the Yudeljong Kaiserreich, and then you call it Yudeljong, because you have Yudeljong Kaiserreich would be like the German Empire, or the German Reich, but then it's Germany, so this would be the Yudeljong Kaiserreich, and then Yudeljong, because it's a dual monarchy really. You have Udale, which is the North American section, and then you have Yang, which is the Asian slash Far East Russian section. And they both have a leader, right? Udale. It's kind of like I believe in absolute monarchy, but I also understand the benefit of having multiple people to like help you. Um, so the way that it's structured in the story is you have the top guy, the Kaiser, the absolute monarch, guy who runs shit, right? Then you have Udale and Yanchavakia. They all both have their own leaders, right? And their job is to like, hey, Udale needs more oil or something, or Yanchavakia needs more food or something. You report that to the Kaiser, and the Kaiser authorizes, like, hey, let's get your people more food. Hey, we need more oil for them terraformers or whatever. Then under that, there would be districts. So it'd be very similar to America's system, right? Where it's like you have the top guy, then you have the leaders of the districts, and then you have like a leader of a city. But the only difference is there would be like an extra step where it's like leaders of the individual nations, and then the leader of the dual monarchy. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, I would definitely do that. I would surround myself. So I'm not sure how many people it would be, but I had an idea. You get the council, right? Like even though Jakaido, the Kaiser, whoever he might be, even though he can make like absolute decisions, even though he is the one who makes decisions, you know, it is still beneficial to get other people onto your side and to discuss and debate with them because you might be wrong, you know? And you have to have the humility to be able to understand, hey, I might be wrong. Let's talk about this. You know what I'm saying? So I was thinking a council. I'm not sure if there's. I was deciding between 7 or 12 people, right? One of those two numbers. Um, and they would basically be the what do you call it? The designated political people who would push back on the Kaiser if they disagreed. So their job wouldn't be to be yes men. It would be, hey, I don't think it's a good idea to wage war in America type shit. Which, by the way, I don't think I would ever do. Maybe, but only if I felt like it was necessary. Like I wouldn't just do it all willy nilly. But that's for any country. I wouldn't just, invade like, hey, Canada, I want your shit. I'm like, no. I mean, America should have done that eons ago, but it is besides the point. No, I wouldn't do that. It would be more so the territory that I showed you, this map right here. I get the white territory. And then obviously there's like other colonies and stuff around. Like you see Yodelsing Tower right here. That would be bigger. I'll go through the colonies on another time. Right now we're just trying to like do the baseline, I guess. But if I were to just get the white territory and the yellow, combine all that, there would be no need for expansion. You know, and the colonies would only be for like people in those areas of the world who require like a Christian safe stronghold. So I'll tell you a few, which I know that these are pipe dreams. I'm not saying that these will happen, but it'd be cool. Uh, three right here in Asia. It would be. I even feel weird saying this. It would be North Korea, uh, the Shandong Peninsula right here for Yodelsing Tao. That entire river, it would be that, and then cut off like that. So that entire peninsula, and then it would be North Vietnam. I told you it was strange. I told you it was crazy. Now, as far as fiction goes, I'm sticking with it. But in real life, it is what it is. But I mean, if I were to just get that territory, and if God were gracious enough to allow things to line up in life, to where I were to get this, the colonies, and then like the other stuff in Europe and stuff, and all of that, and allow me to be able to be a strong leader that leads for the people and does His will uh, to the best of my ability without corrupting it and like, oh, God said we need to do this, so you 30 women come have an orgy with me. Like nothing like that. That's completely unchrist-like. Simultaneously, though, I feel like there's certain things that people do and don't do That sometimes does, sometimes doesn't, and people flip a lid because they're like, "Oh," it's just like, dude, fucking relax. Something like sexy chicks in movies. Like, I don't like it personally, but I don't flip out. You know, it's just like, okay, not the physical attractiveness of the person itself, but like the revealing clothing, the skimpy clothing. I feel like that's what I have a problem with. You can have attractive characters. I don't give a fuck. I prefer attractive characters. Just give them some short sleeves, give some pants or something, man. Why they got to sit there, you know? Like I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Because when I look at those movies and I see chicks, like in booty shorts and a bra or something, or booty shorts and a bikini, I'm like, that's the kind of stuff I look at in private. That's the kind of stuff that I turn the lights out and I feel ashamed of after watching. Okay, so how the fuck, like, how is this in mainstream media? Like, it's because the world is run by Satan. That's why, and that's why I want to build something like the Yodel Yang Kaiserreich. I want to have some kind of safe haven for, and then at the same time, I feel like America is really the only true safe haven for Christians in the modern day, and even then, they are still getting slaughtered, still getting assaulted, just for speaking out, for being Christian in America, you know? And if you ask me, that is I don't know if it's a symptom or a design of democracy. The idea of being able to elect in extremists, being able to elect in people who will completely destroy the way of life, get people killed, push propaganda that is completely false. And then, you know, they get reelected because they brainwash a group of people. And then the people who are true, like Americans, or true representatives of the voting. So, I mean, that's the one thing I hate the most about democracy, really. And I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like America's system is probably the best system that we could have given the circumstances. And I don't think that we should just uproot the system. Do I want it to change? Sure. But I don't think that we should just sit there and go, like, okay, dismantle the government, monarchy. Like, no. As much as I love monarchy, no. Okay, it's got to be done properly, and if it's going to be done, it's got to be done by the will of the people. Okay, it can't just be like one guy being voted in and being like, okay, because that's what fucking Hitler did. All right, and we can't have Hitler in America, even though most people would say Donald Trump is Hitler. Well, you know what? I guess that makes me an SS officer. I don't fucking know. Dude, if you think lower taxes, free enterprise, freedom of speech, freedom of publication, freedom of expression, even. If you think all of that is Nazi adjacent, sir, you've fucking lost the plot. I'm sorry. There's nothing we can do to save you, and you need to be sent into an asylum, or sort of, so to speak. Because anybody who wholeheartedly believes that Nazism is alive and well in America nowadays, and they refuse to look at the other side, and they refuse to, open their mind and be like, well, maybe it's not Nazism right now. If they refuse to do all of that, they shouldn't be in public, okay? Because look, I despise communism, and I despise the ideology behind Nazism, right? But the one thing that I want to say is, what's it called? Um, come on, I'm not losing this train of thought. We're about to be derailed. Give me a sec. Okay, all right. I despise communism and the ideology behind Nazism. The nationalist socialism that Nazism did, and people want to distance themselves. But at the end of the day, Hitler was a fucking socialist. Hitler was a communist. Okay, and by the way, don't let them pull this trick on you. Socialism and communism are completely interchangeable. There is no difference. The only difference is they wanted to make socialism a less dirty word. Because when you think communism, you think hardcore Russia, right? But when you think socialism, it's like, oh, something like Venezuela, no, the UK, no, France, man, I don't know, man. Socialism doesn't really seem to work too good whenever it's implemented the same way as communism, man. It's kind of fucking crazy. And despite the fact that I believe that, I still, if you are not being violent, okay? If you are not being violent, You don't deserve to get hit, arrested, you know. People might mock you for having a shitty idea, and I expect that to me too. If people think that I have a shitty idea, fucking laugh at me, okay? But I mean, at the end of the day, it's, uh, there is a line. And as much as I hate certain ideologies, at the end of the day, the way that you fix that is not just by killing people and not just by, arresting people. Because when you do that, you make the ideology stronger. Okay, if you really want to kill an ideology, what you have to do is either one, go to war. Okay, you you either have to destroy the government that supports that ideology so wholeheartedly that nobody can pick it back up, and it will have to require a new government, or you allow the free you allow the free market of ideas, with the exceptions of, hey, when you say that your opponent is a fucking Nazi, you get arrested. Okay, it's that simple. I'm very authoritarian. All right, I believe in authoritarianism guided towards the people who would rather see innocent people hurt rather than towards the innocent people. People just think that authoritarianism is just super strong evil. No, that's totalitarianism. That's the one you're thinking of. Okay, because there's a strong difference. Authoritarianism is what Trump is doing whenever he sends the National Guard to help the innocent civilians of these different areas that are Chicago, Washington, D.C., Portland, was it? Yeah, Portland, with the fucking multi-month raid on the ICE facility. That's good authoritarianism, okay? You send the National Guard to stop those, stop the crime, stop the sieging of the ICE facility, which, by the way, is an insurrection, okay? Let's just talk about it. People want to say that January 6th was an insurrection whenever they sat there and it was a single day. This has been 4 some odd months now that the Portland has been going. Just every single night. They have bases near the place. The people know where the bases are, and the Portland police are a part of this shit. How is that not an insurrection? Oh, I'm sorry. Something, they support the Democrats. That's why it's not an insurrection, is because they're not sitting there going like, I guarantee you, if there were MAGA motherfuckers out there with the flags and the hats doing what Antifa did, this thing would have been squashed day one. But we don't. We don't. Because we're sane, rational human fucking beings with jobs, okay? These fucking Antifa folks out here, they're getting paid by the state. They're paid insurrectionists, and their job, if you want to call it that, because I call it being a fucking loser, is to be a fucking insurrectionist. That is their quote-unquote job, okay? And I mean, if you're unemployed, it's like, okay, well, you get a rough shake. You move towns, you got to find a job, you're fucking struggling. You, do these different things, you like, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. But you know what? I say I don't get it, but I entirely get it. They've been brainwashed. They've bought into this ideology for so long. It's been pushed since the 60s, okay? This ideology of soft communism. That's where all these people come from. That's why they do all these things. Is because they've been so brainwashed into it, and their parents have been brainwashed to it, and their parents' parents have been brainwashed into it. So now it's generational brainwashing, okay? And let me ask you, when your parents tell you something and it's a normal situation, sure, some parents are abusive, okay? And sometimes you can't trust what they say, or sometimes parents are just liars, okay? But if it's a normal situation and you trust your parents and you don't see them as liars, you don't see them as X, Y, and Z, whatever, and they tell you something, 9 times out of 10, the child's going to be like, okay, mommy, or okay, daddy. So if you tell the child, hey, anybody who thinks that gay people shouldn't be able to have sex with you, or that anybody shouldn't be able to have sex with you, okay, just get the gay shit out of here, because they're great gay people, even though I don't agree with gay. But whenever a parent tells the child, hey, anybody who supports the opposite of you getting abused is a fucking Nazi. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying, bro. Because you can do X, Y, Z. You can say whatever, you can do whatever and everything. But we have to understand. This is like, I know it's very cliche. After Charlie Kirk got shot, people are saying it's not left versus right anymore. It's good versus evil, which is true. And it feels cliche because of how many people said it, but it just needs to be repeated, bro. Like, it is good versus evil. Because let me tell you like this, right? I'm not saying good because we're right wing, which I believe the right wing is good, but I'm gonna take that out of this, all right? I'm not saying good because we're right wing. I'm not saying good because of the fact that the left is just my opponent. I'm saying that we're good because we don't celebrate the unnecessary slaughter of somebody in the middle, in front of everybody, a public assassination. We don't celebrate that. Whenever the Minnesota lawmakers, they got assassinated, that's something right there that should not be celebrated. And yet, this every single thing that you look at policy wise, left versus right, the left is on the evil side, the right is on the good side. Let me explain. Do you think that pedophilia, do you think that fucking kids is something that is good or not? Do you think that if anybody touches a kid in an inappropriate way, do you think that they should be locked up for life or buried underneath the prison? If the answer to that second question is no, you are a part of the problem. It's that simple. Do you think that these roving migrant rape gangs, which by the way have happened, don't say, oh, there's no rape. No, it has fucking happened. Now, decades ago, it happens because people want to sit there, but let's be compassionate. Let's just sacrifice our 11, 10-year-old girls for these fucking 50-year-old Muslims. You know? That's the part that fucking bothers me. All right? You are sacrificing the small and innocent, the future. You are fucking them up because you want to seem like a good fucking ally to the Muslims who would rather turn you into a sex slave. Okay? Because think about it this way, right? Liberal white women, they are the reason that we are in such a fucking problem as are, because it's the fucking, oh, we need to be considerate towards other people. We need to do this and that. We need to da 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 da. Okay, all right, well, everybody says this, but you know what? You want to bring immigrants in? How about your house first? How about you set aside a little part in the garage for them to sleep in? Oh, I'm sorry, you don't want to do that? Yes, they don't want to do that. My man, this right here is evil incarnate. It doesn't bother me, so why should I care, right? My children aren't being raped by 7 Muslim dudes over the span of 6 months. Why should I care, right? My child isn't being used as a soft sex slave because she gets picked up after school and taken to a place where she gets abused by multiple men who shouldn't be here in the first place. It doesn't bother me, so that's not a problem, right? And that's an actual story that happened. And the only reason that people knew about it is because she came to school pregnant. She came to fucking school pregnant! And if I'm not mistaken, the age of this poor child was about 15, 14, you know? And I mean, I guess some certain European countries have the age of consent being lowered. And I'm like, okay. For a time, because I always consider every single option. So for a time, I was like, I don't know, maybe they do, maybe they are right, maybe there's something we should do. So I studied real hard into leftism, right? I studied really hard into it, and I was indoctrinated somewhat as a kid too. So I did all this stuff, and then I look around on these other different countries, and I'm like, oh, age of consent, 15, 12? What? And then that shut that shit down right immediately. Because think about it this way. There is a direct correlation between goodness and a country's policy, right? And I know that seems obvious, but what I mean is like the mentality behind it, right? Because let me tell you, the age of consent. I've studied this a lot, and not like looking fucking. It sounds horrible, bro, but I'm just gonna go for it. All right, fuck it. This needs to be said. I've studied multiple reasoning for people that they would have as like, oh, why should the age of consent be lowered? And a lot of them said to decriminalize underage sex between two people who, like, fucking 17 and a 15-year-old, or 18 and a 15-year-old, or some shit or something. And I'm like, that kind of deserves to be criminalized, okay? Because even 3 years is a lot whenever you're a teenager, bro. I was well different from 18 than I was 15. And you're going to tell me that instead of making a culture that's like, hey, put your dick in your pants, relax, get married, then have sex. Instead of making that culture, you just say fuck it and let's fuck kids. That's what you do. Instead of promoting a culture where you sit there and you're like, maybe we shouldn't just have copious amounts of unprotected, anonymous, no strings attached sex. Maybe we shouldn't do that. And maybe instead we should just, fucking tell people to not do that. No, you won't do that because sex is too good. Oh, it's so horrible. And look, I ain't even gonna lie. All right, I got a porn addiction. I talk about it a lot, and I only talk about it because I'm hoping that enough persecution will get me to stop. But honestly, I could stop at any time. Like, I know it's an addiction and it's like a mental thing, but physically, there are things that you can do to stop these things. Like during my addiction, right? I spend a lot of time in my room, so I'll sit here, I'll do a stream or something, I'll do some out or something, whatever, and then I'll put something on TV. I'll smoke a little pot and I'll be like, you know what? I kind of want to lay down, and then I lay down and then I fall right into it. But you know what I could do? I could not smoke. I could go outside, and when I feel that way, really put myself into a public area because it's hard to do something like that. You know what I mean? Watching porn, that shit. It's hard to kind of do that when you're in public. Um, like there's many things that I could do. I could have accountability systems with my friends. I could reach out. I have plenty of Christian friends. I could just be like, "Hey, I'm feeling this way. Can you please talk me down or something?" Like, and you know what? I don't because my lizard brain it enjoys the feeling way too much. So it takes over my body. And I'm not saying this is scientific. I'm not saying like I'm a doctor or nothing, but I can tell you, like layman's terms, this is what it means. My lizard brain, the synapses in my mind. I'm not even sure that's the right one, but you know what I'm saying, man. That's how all addictions work. It's just you enjoy the feeling of like that euphoria and like, it's the reason why people get addicted on meth because it is so good. It doesn't mean that it's good for you, but bro, you take meth, man, and you forget you exist. I've seen the stories. I've heard it from people who have done it, man. It's insane. But yet people are willing to destroy their lives because they feel like they need that hit. And luckily, I haven't destroyed my life yet, but I am 24 and I do need to pick up on my life path and my career if that's what I want to do. And my addictions do not help. And my point in saying that is I understand the release of an orgasm is so addictive that people get addicted to sex, they get addicted to porn. But at the end of the day, fucking man up, woman up, but just sit there and like, because that's what I need to do. I need to fucking man up and kick this addiction. Yet I don't. I just kind of sit there and just like, I'll get it later on. It's alright right now, bro. Tina Armstrong's looking so hot in that American flag bikini, though, bro. Like that's the stuff that pops up, and I know it's wrong, and yet I still do it, and I don't understand why I do, other than I'm sinful in the flesh, and I have addictions, just stuff like that, and it's not an excuse, it's just a reason, but I'm also like very upset that it is very easy to make those excuses and to just keep doing it. Just like, oh, no, I'm sinful and I have a porn addiction. So instead of trying to stop it, I'm just going to be woe is me and keep doing it. And people feel that way about everything, man. Feel that way about fucking sex, about drugs, about war, even. Shit. I mean, what do you think most of those fucking war hawks and the fucking the government and everything, the ones who have never been in military, mind you, because I mean, there's justified war. But I mean, the war hawks who sit there and they're fucking 70 years old with paper brittle skin and ain't seen a day of war in their life. Those motherfuckers, like, there's an addiction to war, but it's like the opposite. It's like if you've never seen war, that's when you become addicted to it. It's because there's something so powerful about, hey, go over there, kill all of them, take their shit, and bring it back, you know? And then people do it, and then hundreds of thousands, millions of people will do it. Like, look, I don't support unnecessary war, and I don't support totalitarianism or unchecked authoritarianism to the point of hurting innocent people. But I cannot deny that never having been in a war, when you look at it from the outside, through like movies, video games, the glamorized war, right? Not the kind of war where you see a buddy get blown up and all that's left is his leg. No, nothing like that. Not the kind of war where you got to sit there and you got to check every single corner, every single dot in the area. And if you don't, bullet through the head. And even if you do check it, you'll probably get fucked up anyway. You know, unless you've seen that. And I've never been in a war, but I grew up during Live Leak. And I've been watching footage of Russia-Ukraine war, and I've watched footage of many other wars, and I understand that war is hell. That's why I have this is like my foreign policy when it comes to war, right? I'm a peacemongerer. You have warmongers. I'm a peacemongerer. I like to make sure that peace can stay. But if the person I'm engaging with diplomatically, if they do not leave me any room for peace, then I flip a switch and become the greatest warmongerer this world has ever known. And that could be on a national scale or a personal scale, right? If you're trying to rob me, I'm not going to give you my shit, but I'll make a time for peace, right? Just be like, bro, look, I'm not giving you my stuff. There's no need for us to do this. Just go, please. And people be like, oh, that's how you get shot. But you know what? I would rather get shot and die in a robbery than sit wasting away for 50 years in a fucking room with minimum wage and no life, okay? Because at least I'd be standing up for what the fuck I believe in instead of just, oh no, take my stuff. Please don't kill me. And there's no guarantee that he's going to fucking not kill you anyway. Or there's no guarantee that he's going to produce something and knock you out or something. And then all of a sudden you're trapped in a basement being a fucking slave. Like, you don't know what that criminal is going to do. So the best thing that you can do is defend yourself. Defend yourself. Make sure that you can't. Make sure that you're not going to be, subject to somebody else's will like when you don't want to. Because I mean, it's one thing to be like, okay, I'm going to fully submit to you. Anything you say, I will do, and not even just in a sexual way, just in general. Like, hey, I need your leadership, please. And then you have the guy who's like, yeah, no, I'll lead you. Because I mean, that's one thing we gotta understand. So many fucking women nowadays are arrogant as shit. And I hate that shit with a fucking passion, man. It bothers the shit out of me so much. Because it's like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Because all these women are grown up. You're perfect the way you are. Oh, you're a princess. You da 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 da. And then they grow up and they take 50 dicks before they're 21 and they wonder why no guy wants them. Like, fuck. And I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to be mean, all right? But the truth is mean, all right? And there are women out there who the day they turn 18, it's over. It's over. Like they never planned on being a good woman anyway. They just wanted to be a fucking walking fleshlight with fucking eyes. Walking fleshlight with a mouth that can talk. Now that's all they want to be. That's all they want to be. And then, but they won't tell you that, though. They won't tell you that. They'll sit there and be like, oh, no, I'm doing this because it's empowering. Yes, you're empowering men to be further fuckboys instead of actually forcing them to change and be better like you want them to be. That's the thing I never understood about feminism. You want men to be better, and yet you refuse to get better yourself. And the only way that you will get men to be better is either by, one, being so fucking horrible that you push men away, and they're like, you know what, I think I'm just going to better myself instead of dealing with that bullshit, which is what is happening now. Or you have to get better, women. You have to get better if you want men to get better, okay? And you see, the part that I hate the most is that women are very easily manipulated, okay? Women are very easily emotional, and people be like, oh, men are emotional too. Okay, yeah, but it's not women who sit there and voted away the greatest fucking country we've ever had, okay? All I'm saying, I don't think that we should be misogynist. I don't think that we should be going against women. Women have a place in this world, and they've forgotten their place in this world. Okay, that's that simple. It's that fucking simple. And you can say, "Are you misogynist?" Yeah, it's only misogyny because it's the truth, and the truth, which is equal treatment or whatever it is that you have you know, that sucks to people who have been so used to preferential treatment. So when you sit there and you look at women and you say, "Hey, you can't be whores anymore." I mean, we've been putting men to these standards for generations. Don't be whores. Don't be going and doing this. And yet, men still, because people are going to rebel. They're going to do whatever it is that they do, and they're going to be like, "No, I want to be a man ho." But we've been telling them, "Hey, stop fucking around. Relax." Men will we will self police. You know what I'm saying? But women, no. You're perfect the way you are, baby. Don't you worry about it, darling. You know, 500-pound land whale, and these bitches over here in the comments like, you're so perfect. All these men are unlucky to not have you. No, these men are lucky to not have her because I'm not trying to break my rib cage during missionary, okay? How would that work? I don't know. Your body defies the laws of physics, okay? So that could defy anything. I don't give a fuck. Like, that's the part that bothers me the most about that whole fat pride shit, man. I get it. Our bodies are literally designed to stretch and get bigger as we do that shit, right? And it's cool. Like, it is what it is. Our bodies are designed to reflect our lifestyle. So if you're fat, most likely you are sedentary, you are not doing anything, and you are fucking disgusting. And I'm that coming from a fat person. Granted, I'm only at about 330, right? But I'm still big, and that's fucking horrible, man. All I'm saying is that if you want to make bad life choices, fine. But don't sit there and expect everybody else to be like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna support you, boo. We're gonna." But you see, that's the issue though, is that everybody has. So now they're used to it. So now the reverting process, which is the same thing with illegal immigration, by the way. The problem is getting so bad. Yeah, the problem's gotten so bad that whenever we have to fix the problem, it's gonna hurt just as bad as the problem does. It's gonna hurt just as bad as the problem does. And it is ridiculous to me how easily gullible the general population is. And I mean, sure, I'm gullible too. I can be tricked. I'm not saying that I'm impervious. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. But like, there's so many videos of people screaming their heads off, attacking people, uh, doing the worst of the worst towards their political opponents because of the fact that they've been brainwashed, manipulated by the mainstream media, by the modern left, you know. So now, whenever these people hear Donald Trump is the modern day Hitler, they believe it, you know. And I feel like that's the part that bothers me the most about them believing it. Is like, okay, everybody knows when you have fascism, when they're actively hurting people and whatever it is, hurting the innocent. How do you deal with that? You don't vote it out. And even if they did die, they probably just pass it on to somebody who's equal, if not worse, than they are. So how do you deal with that, right? You fucking take over. That's how you deal with it. How do you deal with the Nazi? Okay? People have been saying, oh, punch Nazis. Are you sure about that? Because I'll tell you right now, I might be in a bit of a weird way, but even if there was a genuine SS officer who personally ordered the murder of Jewish people standing in front of me, I wouldn't have it in me to hurt him. Only because as I meet him now, he's not hurting anybody that I know of. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be one thing if he was visiting America. I was alive during the 1930s, 1940s. We'll say like 1942, or 43. Just whenever the Holocaust got into super big, like that. If there's an SS officer who came over to America and we met, and he was saying, yeah, yeah, I am an SS officer and I work in Auschwitz, I do believe that I would have to cave his skull in. Only because he is actively hurting innocents, or at the very least report him to the police so he can get arrested in America. Because if they're not going to arrest him in Germany, well, fuck you. You're going to get arrested by our government, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you are actively hurting innocents and it is verifiable, or you straight up admit it, even if you're lying, if you lie to me and say, oh yeah, or, modern day, just be like, yeah, no, I just got done fucking a kid. Even if you're joking, even if you're lying, I'm going to fuck you up. Okay? Because, like, there's a difference between, hey, this is, something I did 15 years ago and I'm deeply remorseful of it and I never want to do it again. And I pray to God that he will keep me away from this evil. There's a difference between that and, oh yeah, no, I just did it. Like, you know what I'm saying? That is the only difference, in my personal opinion. That is like the only fucking difference. And I say that because of the fact that I have done horrible shit. I am not afraid to admit it. I am a little afraid to admit what I did, but I'm sure it will come out one day. But I have done some absolutely horrendous, heinous shit to people who didn't deserve it. And quite frankly, if I met me all those times ago, I probably would have fucking killed me. But you see, Jesus, he gave me a second chance. Jesus, he gave me another shot. He accepted my sins, forgave me of them, and I'm a better person because of it. And I know not everybody's like that. Some people fake it, right? They fake getting better just to be able to get what they want. But I mean, at the end of the day, you have people like me who are genuine. And I think you just gotta, I think when it comes to actually trying to like figure these things out and trying to, you know, do we give him the death penalty? Do we heal him or not? It's all about how he carries himself, you know? So if somebody fucking killed somebody and they're like, yeah, I didn't do it and I do it again, and that person was innocent, and they say like, yeah, I did it and I'd do it again, and that person was innocent. It's like, okay, well then we're gonna fucking give you the execution. But I mean, if they're sitting there being like, you know what, I thought it was a good idea at the time, but I just, my mind was fogged. I wasn't, thinking in the right way. I definitely let my evil overcome the good that's within me. And at the end of the day, I would just ask for forgiveness from the families I hurt, and I could just pray that no matter what happens, I'll be able to be a better person, even if I spend the rest of my life in jail. There's a difference between those two mindsets. One is, hey, fuck you, I killed him and I'd do it again. And the other is, I fucked up. I am so sorry. I know it can't bring him back, but I am so sorry. Like, there's a difference between those, man. And I am far more forgiving to the person who has a consistent pattern of being the second mindset compared to the first. Because people can just say, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean that. And, like, say it in a convincing way. But if there's a constant pattern of remorse, of, yeah, I shouldn't have fucking done that, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have done that, that's how you know somebody's worth trying. Somebody who sits there and they think in their mind, they're like, yeah, yeah, I definitely fucked up, you know. But if you just have the people who are like, oh well, like, okay, even if it's like I said earlier, even if it's a joke, even if it's a small little thing, I don't fucking care. Okay, I don't care. And the only reason I say that I don't care is because of the fact that, like, if you have no remorse, you know, then you're gonna do it again. Because if you have no remorse and you feel like it's good that you did what you did and you hurt innocent people doing what you did, then all of a sudden you're gonna do it again. I know. All of a sudden you're gonna do it again. Maybe not all of a sudden is the right phrase there. I'm not sure. I use a lot of word whiskers. I get a lot of word whiskers, honestly, and I repeat myself a lot. But this is no script. I'm just going off the cuff right here. And I mean, I genuinely believe what I'm saying, because it's like, why would you have a society that encourages the harming of innocent people for political expediency? That's why. Because it makes you look good whenever you come in and fix the problem that you created, so that people can sit there and continue to be under your boot, and they can continue to be, you know, destroyed by your policy. And and I don't know, man. I don't know. It really, really, we're at a point now in American politics, you can't give the left any room, okay? Every single place that they've gone has been the wrong choice. Granted, you have some great Democrats. John Fetterman is an absolute legend. He's a Democrat. He's just like, he is strong in his Democrat ties, and he hasn't changed his parties as far as I know. But he is like not insane. I would consider him a classic Democrat. Like, just a Democrat that you would just be like, you know what? I I don't exactly agree with what you're doing and all that jazz and everything, but at the end of the day, I feel like you are definitely a solid person who, if I didn't like the Republican candidate, I probably would vote for you. Just things like that. But no, people don't see that. People don't see that because all they see is like 5 feet ahead of them. Or they think they're super big brain, long term goals and shit. But at the end of the day, they're just fucking stupid, you know? And the only reason I say that is because It's been so obvious the actions that the modern American left has done. You know what? Fuck it. The modern left, not just American left, the entire left wing of politics and the modern political spectrum is evil. And I will stand by that. I will stand by that. Because of the fact, this one simple fact. I say that the left wing is evil. Their response is going to be to dox me, to harass me, to harm me, to do all of that to my family, and worst case scenario that we've seen happen before, kill me. That's how I know they're evil. Because instead of them sitting there going like, you know what? Let me go ahead and have a debate with you. Maybe I can convince you to like communism. Maybe you'll convince me to. No. No. It's just shut the fuck up or we're going to kill you. Shut the fuck up or we're going to let everybody know where you live. We're going to let your job know that you're a heinous piece of shit who likes that. No, that's that right there. That is what the modern left does. The modern left just says, hey, shut the fuck up or we're going to kill you. Shut up or we're going to make your life a living hell. We're going to make it the worst of the worst. And there is not a single damn thing that you can do about it, is what they would say. And what I say is, hey, man, I'm not trying to put my family to the line of fire, but if you step up, you will be put down. That's all I got to say to it. And I encourage every single other fucking person out there who agrees with me, who agrees with the right wing, who agrees with Jesus. All of you need to have that same mindset. If you step up, you will be put down, okay? And I'm not going to step up. No, I'm good. I got shit I got to take care of. But if you step up, you will be put down. Can you clarify that? No. No, I will not. Because of the fact that so many left-wingers, they don't got to clarify shit. Why should I have to sit here and say, oh, what I actually mean is we're going to defend ourselves with appropriate violence? No, you step up, you're going to be put down. End of fucking story. I'm tired of sitting here playing semantic games. They've literally called us Nazis. They've literally called us Hitler. And people have been genuinely assassinated and murdered in the fucking streets because of their propaganda. I have zero quarrel for them anymore. I have zero quarter for them anymore. Okay? Fuck you. Fuck your party. And if I got any opportunity for political persecution based off of the things that are verifiable, I would pursue it in a heartbeat. Okay? I would pursue it in a fucking heartbeat. Why? Because when Trump said he didn't arrest Hillary because it would be bad for the health of the country, at the time, yes. But now, long term, that was a poor idea because we needed to set that precedent. Hey, you fuck with the American people, you're going down for life. I'm sorry. And as a matter of fact, whether you're a police officer, a firefighter, ambulance, whatever, or if you're a politician, whether that's Congress, the representative, House of Representatives, or the president, vice president, it doesn't fucking matter. If you do something that's heinous, if you do something that is illegal, you deserve to have 7 times the fucking punishment, okay? If you sat there and did insider trading, you should have a $9 million fine. I don't give a fuck, okay? If you want to sit there and you want to promote policy that's going to end up in children being raped, end up in parents being separated from their children because something, I don't want my kid to cut his cock off. If you support that, life sentence. Because you cutting that kid's cock off, or okay, let me be real about it here. Giving that child puberty blockers so that they may be able to adapt into their own personal preferred puberty, aka fuck up his developmental system. Yeah. Kids are getting taken away from parents because they don't want to do that. They're getting taken away from parents because they don't want their child to be turned into a child trans stripper, which has happened before. They don't want their kids at drag queen story hour. We got dudes in fucking shitty wigs, shitty makeup, and full beards. Not even trying to look like a woman. They just want to be a fucking pedophile. Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm the extremist and I'm the problem for calling it out. I'm the guy who needs to be targeted and killed because I don't want grown-ass men with beards who dress like women and pretend to be women to fuck my 7-year-old daughter. I'm sorry that I don't want 9 fucking Muslim dudes to come in and go to my daughter every time she leaves school. And I'm like, why is my daughter not getting home until 7 p.m., 8 p.m.? And yet I'm the extremist for pointing this out. I'm the extremist for having genuine valid concerns. And you go, oh, it's not a valid concern. You know, these things aren't going to happen to you, or it's never happened before. You know, whatever excuse they have to make to, continue promoting pedophilia, whatever excuse they have to make to continue promoting pedophilia, they will make, because they themselves, I am convinced, I do not have any proof, yet I am convinced anybody who's on the left wants to fuck kids. I don't have any proof. I'm not saying it is 100% the reason, but I guarantee you, and there's so many Antifa members arrested during the Portland siege, right? Tell me why almost every single person who had been arrested after the fact, boom, 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 arrest, 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 they were all convicted of pedophilia or possession of CP, child porn. Why is that a common thread? Why is it a common thread whenever Antifa has these pedophiles here who get arrested? They are known and convicted as pedophiles previously. They get arrested. And then the people who support Antifa and the people that Antifa support want to make it to where you can fuck with a kid's sexuality. Just think about it, bro. I mean, do we have to sit here and circumstantial evidence? Bro, are you fucking serious? Like, this right here is base level strategy. Okay? Base fucking level strategy. Hey, I'm going to support somebody in power who wants to do what I want to do, and then I'm going to pretend like I don't want to do it. And then I'm going to pretend like, "Oh, what do you mean I want to fuck kids? What do you mean I want to do all this stuff?" I mean, you are a convicted, not alleged, convicted fucking pedophile. That's why I say you want to fuck kids. You are convicted of having CP on your fucking computer. That's why I say you want to fuck kids. Not because something you disagree with me, so I'm going to call you a Nazi or a fascist or a da 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 da. No. People who agree with me, if they wanted to fuck kids, I would still say that the only reason that you're doing whatever it is that you're doing is because you want to fuck kids. Because I think you guys have to understand, that's not just a side piece for your personality, right? It's not like, oh, I like root beer. That's a side piece for my personality. My favorite drink is root beer. Not pedophilia. What? You mean to tell me? You mean to tell me, right? That these people out here who are convicted of all that's just their side gig, bro. That's not who they are as a person. They just made a mistake. That's not who they are as a person. That's not You see, and that's the part that is the most heinous out of all of this. It's the fact that these people who are protesting ICE, they want to fuck kids. They all have mental illness. They all have, the same dead look in their eyes. They support politicians who are going to make it easier for them to fuck kids. They're going to support ideologies and religions that make it easier for them to fuck kids, even if that religion would, turn around and execute them the second that they sat there and fucking took power because something convert or die for Islam, something thrown off of rooftops in Muslim countries. And then take it like this way. Something every single violent revolution ever, the first people to get murdered are the revolutionaries who committed said violence. So take out the fact that what they're doing is heinous as shit and fucking horrible. They're gonna get capped anyway if they win. It's a lose-lose for Antifa. Do you understand that, right? If they lose the insurrection, they lose. But if they win the insurrection, they get executed by the ruling party. Like you're not going to be the fucking people in power. Like, come on, man. I'm realistic about it, okay? I want to be a Kaiser, but I understand that that's a big ask, okay? That's a thing, all right? That's not just a, I think I'm going to be all right. No, that's, dude. And I guarantee you, every single one of those Antifa fucking people have that mindset of, oh, I'm going to be the commissar. I will be the person who has the reins of power and takes it to make this the greatest thing ever. Because only through my form of communism can people actually be free to fuck kids. And look, I'm sorry that I'm hammering that home so hard. I know it's very uncomfortable to talk about, but it's happening, okay? And we have two options. One, let it happen. Or two, face the uncomfortability. Okay, and to be quite frank with you, I don't have much power. I can't do shit. But I'm not about to sit here and just let people fuck kids. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not fucking sorry. I'm tired of saying I'm sorry. I'm not sorry when it comes to defending children from being raped. And if you disagree with me, you're part of the problem. I don't give a fuck. I don't speak in totalities like that. I don't do the all liberals. I don't do the all left. I don't even do all Democrats. John Fetterman's a perfect example of that. Not all Democrats are psychos. John Fetterman's a normal dude. I mean, at the end of the day, those are some of the few things that will speak totality. I will have a totality of kind of speaking on, right? When it comes to defending the innocent, you know, which is your pedophiles, your school shooters, your people who just want to siphon money out of the taxpayer and pay their own paychecks with it and pay their buddies' paychecks with it. And then when the taxpayers go like, hey, can we fix this pothole in our road? You know, people just sit there and go like, give us more tax money and we might. Fuck that shit. That's why if I was ever a Kaiser, I would have as little taxes as possible and I would just run like 9 businesses, bro. I would literally all over the fucking Reich. I would have multiple businesses. I would have restaurants, laundromats, fucking, safe for work clubs. So not like nightclubs or something, but places people can go hang out and shit. You know, maybe buy a drink or something, or have some like soda options there or something. Nothing too degenerate. Promote modest clothing, and with it being in the fucking snow, we have no choice but to be modest, and I love that. That's why I picked this area. It's because it's snow. What you gonna do? Go out in a fucking booty shorts and bikini on negative 20-degree weather, bitch? Like, nah, you can't do that shit. Come on, man. Come on, that's fucking crazy. That's all I'm saying, man. If I ever became a leader, I ain't taking a paycheck, all right? I will not be paid through taxpayer dollars, all right? Any taxes that have to be paid, because somewhere, like, I admit they can be beneficial, especially for an up and starting country. But I fucking hate taxes with a passion. I despise taxes. And because to me, when you tax someone, I know it's cringy. Taxation is theft. Not really. It's more like extortion. It's, hey, you have to give us money, and if you don't, we'll send you to federal prison. And by the way, we're not going to tell you how much money you owe. You have to do your own shit. I did. See, my only question with that is well, no, not a question, just a statement. That is a prime example of people sitting there saying, "Hey, it's not illegal if the government does it." Because if I went to one of my neighbors and said, "Hey, you got to give me a percentage of your check every single paycheck. Every single time you get paid, you got to give me 15%. And if you don't, okay, well, you're going to be locked in my basement for the rest of your life until you start paying that again." Like if I did that, right? I'm a fucking horrible person, rightfully so. But if the government does it, all of a sudden, oh, but we needed to pay our social services that people fucking leech off of, and if you take away their EBT, if you take away their food stamps, they will threaten to fucking steal and attack people and assault people, and for some reason they all have the same skin complexion. You can call me racist, I call it pattern recognition, okay? That's all I'm saying, man. You could call me racist, I call you a fucking idiot. Because at the end of the day, that's exactly what it is. Because these people are getting so fucking hype. That one bitch, I'm gonna have my steel-toe boots, and I'm gonna have my motherfucking helmet, and I like any one of the motherfuckers to try to fucking sit there and stop me from getting my motherfucking food whenever this bitch looks like she just got finished eating fucking 7 turkeys. Look, I am offensive on purpose because of the fact that each and every single person who's out there supporting what I'm against is a part of the problem. And again, not something something Nazi, but genuinely, hey, you going out there and you trying to rip the fucking illegal immigrants away from ICE so that you can sit there and be virtuous. Look, the fucking Stasi, the SS, the fucking ICE, you know, because to them they're all fucking interchangeable, even though ICE is a lawful, moral branch of the government that's actually trying to sit there and do what the American people have voted for. Okay, and the SS and the Stasi were fucking corrupt internal police for the motherfucking government. And they sat there and they would go out and do the most heinous shit. Why? Because they worked for a fucking totalitarian government that was sitting there and was just like, hey, you know, kind of cool if our cops could rape kids. Why should we stop that? You know, like, look, and I'll say it like this, right? Just because it's not reported doesn't mean it didn't happen. So when people are gonna sit there and be like, "Oh, what do you mean rapes? What do you mean? What do you mean da da da?" And you're gonna fucking sit there and tell me. You're gonna see that's another thing right there that absolutely shows the ignorance of left-wing people. Whether it's willful or not, I don't care, but they are ignorant as shit, and they should not be in the fray, trying to sit there and actually try to have genuine political debates when the only thing that they want to do is support people who want to import people who don't give a fuck about us, and all they want to do, take our money, siphon the American taxpayer, send it back to their people in these shithole countries, kill American citizens, rape American citizens. Okay, Western citizens, fuck just America, Western citizens, siphon all your resources, kill your people, take your girls, not women, girls, and then when you say something, you're the problem. See, this is why I have a 100% despising, like, I despise fucking Islam. I have a zero tolerance policy for Islam. Why? Because if you give them 1% tolerance, they take it, they multiply, and then they turn it on you, and then you're the fucking victim. So no, you won't. No, I'm good. I'm good, man. I believe that there are good Muslims. I believe that not every single Muslim is a terrorist. I'm not going to be so ignorant as to say that bullshit, okay? But at the end of the day, you can't sit here and tell me, like, where's the Christian terrorist? Where's the Buddhist terrorist? Where's the motherfucking atheist terrorists? Oh, that's Antifa, my bad. That's communism, my bad. Where's the Catholic terrorists? Where's the Orthodox terrorists? Where's the motherfucking, whatever, what does Japan and China believe in? I don't know. Like, they have different, but whatever they believe in, where are those terrorists in America? Where are those terrorists on the fucking world scale? Oh, I'm sorry. We need to be nuanced and understand that every single group has bad apples, and understand that overall Islam is a religion of peace, even though in their charter, in their doctrine, the Quran, they say that you need to convert everybody or kill them. Convert or die. And that's something that I cannot get behind, because I fucking despise ultimatums. Unless it is 100% appropriate, unless there are zero other alternatives to giving an ultimatum, you do not give an ultimatum. Because when you do, people automatically are like, hey, fucking kill me then. Because I'm not going to support your fucking bullshit. I'm not going to sit here and support your fucking violent, disgusting, disgraceful ideology who wants nothing more than to make slaves of all non-Muslims and then make slaves of Muslims because they fucking enslave their women, they enslave each other, do all this shit. Oh, no, they don't actually have slaves. Fuck you, bro. There are more slaves than now. The modern world has more slaves ever than in history. Tens of millions of slaves. Now, as we're talking right now, there's some poor chick in fucking Zambia or Thailand getting gang raped by at least 15 fucking dudes, okay? An innocent fucking person who did nothing wrong is being gang raped by 15 dudes as we speak because of the fact that the left wing doesn't want to address the actual problem. Now, granted, there's a lot of right wing fuckheads too. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like everybody's good. No. But at the end of the day, the right wing has a far higher batting average than the left does. The right has a far better accuracy with their shots than the left does when it comes to actually trying to do policy that helps innocent people. Because you want to know something? What I want to see is that chick who's getting raped by 15 dudes. I want a team of fucking Navy SEALs swooping into that shit, bro. Or fucking Army Rangers or some shit. Swooping in, smiting all those fucking people and saving that chick. But no, no, we can't do that. We can't fucking do that because these leftists right here would rather promote being able to fuck kids. And you see, that's another reason why we can't do that. Because in America, there's an entire wing of the political system that wants 15 people gang raping a woman, that wants pedophilia, that wants all of the bad stuff in the world that we're all trying to get rid of. That, you know, I like nukes. I like nuclear energy. I like the idea of scientifically at its core fucking with the nucleus, right? It's such a fucking human thing to do, to just mess with science like that. And yet I would never in my life, except for very, 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 I'm gonna say this a few more times, very, 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 very specific situations in which a nuke would be appropriate. I support nuking Japan at the end of World War II. Because if not, we would have had to gone into a mainland invasion and sacrificed millions of more lives. So yes, nuking was appropriate there. And yet, you see, I have that mindset. These fucking left-wing people, if nukes didn't require 17 million steps, rightfully so, by the way. If it didn't require 17 million steps, I'm convinced Joe Biden would have nuked Russia. I'm convinced Joe Biden would have nuked somebody, okay? Fucking somebody, bro. I'm convinced Barack Obama would have nuked somebody. I'm convinced that all these fucking people in the past who sat here and had violence happen under their administration, which, by the way, Donald Trump is probably one of the only peace presidents to ever fucking happen. No new wars started underneath his first term, and so far under his second term, there have been no new wars started, right? There have been ceasefire breakdowns. There have been conflicts that have been started by the other motherfuckers that have transferred over, so you can sit there and try to say that it was his, but it's not his, because he's a fucking peace president. 8 peace deals. 8 fucking peace deals. Oh, but I'm sorry. Modern day Hitler, modern day Nazism. Even though he's not conquering these territories, because you want to know something? Who the fuck is gonna stop America? Honestly, who the fuck is gonna stop the rest of the world? The rest of the world? Are you serious? The rest of the world could wage war on America today, and we would win. I'm convinced. It's because of how large our budget is for our fucking military, because of the fact that the USA is the only nation in the world that puts Jesus at the center of it. And we've forgotten that. We've fucking forgotten that. And also, okay, the USA is one of the only few successful revolutions that actually produced something worthwhile to the world instead of just fucking the entire world up, right? Because if you think about it, the American Revolution was against totalitarianism, and I'm a monarchist, okay? But I do agree, and no taxation without representation is what the entire basis of the American Revolution was fought on. And then they obviously added the extra stuff onto it that we know the American Revolution for, right? I just don't think that you need democracy to be representative, you know? I feel like you can represent people and still have some kind of monarchy with the king who follows God to a T. And again, it's not impervious. Obviously, humans are not infallible. We are sinful. But I would much prefer a guy who comes out on the podium and is like, "Hey, look, I'm not the brightest guy, I'm not the best guy, you know, but I have infinite passion, and I will come out here and I will do my best to do the will of God for you, the people, every single day. And if I mess up, I expect to be called out for it, you know, and I will try to fix those wrongs, okay? And nobody's perfect, and yes, there will be some things that all of us are going to not agree on. But at the end of the day, it's 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 just crazy, man. It's just crazy. You know, at the end of the day, what's crazy is that I lose my train of thought so quickly because I get passionate and I lose it. But I mean, I would rather a guy come up and just go like, "Hey, I'm not fucking perfect, but I'm gonna try to do what's best for you guys. And if I mess up, call me out." I would prefer that, and I would prefer a 50-year rule of that with mistakes compared to what we have now. Because you can't tell me that America would not be better with Donald Trump as our king. If tomorrow the government dismantled and all that rose out of it was Donald Trump's family as the Royal American family, which, by the way, If there were ever was a family to be the royal American family, it would be the Trump family because of the fact that Donald Trump had not only become super big in the mainstream before his political, you know, before he ran for president, he was big because of his name, because of the things that he had, because of the fact that his father was rich and he was able to, um, he was able to use those resources to his advantage to be able to make himself rich and make himself a really like known guy. Before he like ran for president, people were dropping his name in songs. I'm gonna be up like Donald Trump, some shit like that. I don't know if that was before or after, but that's my point. Is like he's being name dropped in songs because of how great he is as a symbol of America. I just, it's crazy, man. Because I mean, to me, Donald Trump, yeah, he's made some mistakes. He's doing a lot of stuff that I don't agree with. I don't agree with the H-1B stuff. I don't agree with like how he's importing Chinese and Indians. Why would we import China and Indian people? Why would we import anybody? Who is who? My question is, who is better than America at certain things? Yes, America is not the tippy top of all things and the perfect, perfect, perfect. No, nothing like that. But at the end of the day, if you're going to talk about AI, you're going to talk about technological advancements. Okay, you're going to talk about all this bullshit. My question is, who better than people who grew up watching not only the technology advance, but also grew up learning the motherfucking shit, okay? Because I was born in '01, all right? I'm born in 2001, right? I grew up with primitive ass technology. The PS2 wasn't even out when I was born, okay? I grew up with that shit. I still remember the day I got my PS4. It was like a week after launch or something. No, I got my PS4 when Resident Evil 7 launched, my bad. So I'm not sure when that was, but I got my PS4 when Resident Evil 7 launched. And you grow up with that. You see technology advance. You see these things. You see and you know the best thing we can do is pull people from a shithole country who knows nothing about the stuff that our children have been raised with. That's all I'm saying, man. Why would you import people from these other countries who have lesser than tech, lesser than policies, lesser than culture, and yes, I'm fucking saying that, lesser than traditions, lesser than everything? Why would you import that whenever we have millions and millions of people who want to train, who want to grow up to be these certain things? Oh, but I'm sorry. Ahmed took your fucking dreams of being a source code engineer, even though you can do it 30 times better than that motherfucker. We needed somebody named Ahmed in the fucking thing, so sorry, go off. You little white boy with blonde hair, I'm sorry, we didn't need you, even though you're 30 times more qualified than this motherfucker. I'm sorry, we didn't need you. Get the fuck out of here. Ahmed. Oh, you have a criminal report for me? Let me see. Oh, you've out of the last 10 years, 7 of them you've spent raping kids. Welcome to the store, sir. I want to thank you for your service, and please come in here and allow us to present to you your specific little cubicle, the specific privileges that you are going to have. And if anybody says anything about you, just come tell me. It doesn't even have to be racial. Just come tell me. You might think I'm exaggerating. I'm not. I'm really not. Because let me put it to you this way. If I was exaggerating, there would not be millions of people around the entire world who agree with me. Okay? I'm just a small little guy. I'm a small fry. And what's crazy is I came here to fucking do some stuff on Discord and I just started ranting. But it's important. It's important, man. I'm sick and fucking tired of people going, just go back to your video games. I don't care about politics. Look, I'm not saying you gotta vote. I'm not saying that you gotta sit there and care that much about it. But if you're not gonna sit here, like my dad despises the government, you know, despite the fact that he runs it, but that's despite the point. Well, in the story with the Udals, he runs it. So I think after this stream, I might start being in character. I don't know. I might. But my dad, he despises government. He doesn't like the government. I don't know if he got a tattoo about it, but he at least talked to me about getting a tattoo. That was FTG, fuck the government, right? He's that fucking, it's crazy. But even he watches, it's Fox News. It's not anything crazy, but even he watches them and keeps an eye on what's happening. And, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just like, if my dad, who despises the government, can still follow politics, anybody who's not following politics is being willfully ignorant, okay? Willfully ignorant for that stupid shit. Because I'm not saying you got to sit there and automatically turn MAGA or Antifa. But what I am saying is you need to understand that these are the things that are happening. People need to sit there and understand. Antifa has sieged the ICE facility for 4 months now. The left-wing politics and power don't want you to be better, and all they want to do is replace you. They want to eradicate the white population, the native population of these countries, and you know what? I don't give a fuck if that's offensive. Oh no, the Native Americans, the fucking da-da-da. I don't fucking care, okay? For the past multiple hundreds of years, Europe has been mainly white, and America has been mainly white with some mixes, okay? So if you're going to sit there and tell me something Native Americans, well, you know what, something? I don't really respect cultures that would rather rip your scalp off than have peace with you, okay? It's that simple. I don't respect cultures that do that. And I encourage you not to do that either. Now, that doesn't mean go out and disrespect Native Americans. That doesn't mean treat them like trash. No, you treat them like an individual, like you would any other person, white, black, yellow, or red. I don't care. But at the end of the day, I have zero respect for any kind of culture that does that. And quite frankly, the Native Americans, before the Europeans came here, that's exactly what they were doing. They were warring with each other. They were taking each other's territory, before we took it. So quite frankly, this territory could go to any one of those fucking tribes. People saying, oh, we're on stolen land. Okay, let me ask you. Is it stolen land of the Cherokee, the Comanche, the Navajo? Which tribe? Which tribe should we give the land back to? That's my question, And then they have no answer for it. It's like, well, actually, even if they tell you something, you all know it's fucking bullshit. Like, well, we can't actually give back to these groups because we don't know which group held what. So maybe what we should do is just give it all back and just have a giant conglomerate Native American nation. And everybody knows that the Native American nation would immediately fall into fucking civil war because obviously there are different tribes. People want to sit here and be like, oh, don't be racist towards Native Americans. But those same people don't even understand the fact that Native Americans were like Europeans, okay? The only difference is the culture and the skin color, okay? That's the difference. Because in Europe, yeah, you have Germany, Britain, France. Before Germany united, all those tiny little, like, the Prussian Empire, all of those tiny little things in Central Europe that were just their own small fucking... Before they united into the German Empire, you could compare that to Native Americans before Europeans came here. You could compare that. But you see the difference. But you see obviously the difference is hundreds of years. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, just because the Prussian Empire was in 1870 something all of a sudden makes it better, right? There's probably a lot of historical empires that were fucking great to live in, but they just fell for one reason or another. I'm not sure about that, but the only thing that I have, and this will be the last thing I say and I'm off, okay? The last thing I say and I'm off, is that I don't care if you're Native American. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're black, Asian, Middle Eastern. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what kind of system you believe in. And I also understand that, America isn't mine. It is the civilians. It is the people's, right? But I will say this from my personal perspective, and I know a lot of people agree with me. And if you agree with me, I encourage you to be out, to be loud spoken about this, because we are done, okay? If you come in to my country, my town, my city, my people, you come here and you try to hurt us, you try to take away from us, try to rape us, murder us, okay? I will send you to Allah faster than you could fucking blink. You understand me? You come into this country, and anybody in the West, I encourage you to do this as well, all right? I don't even mean just America. I mean Germany, Britain, Ireland, France, fucking Italy, Switzerland, Austria, Poland, Czechia, and Slovakia, okay? Fucking Hungary, Croatia, Bosnia, Serbia, Albania. Fucking, I'll keep going down the list. Bulgaria, Romania, Russia even, okay? Every single fucking white country out there. And yes, I'm making this racial because they have made it racial. Every single white country out there that is dealing with an influx of people, and you know what? I say I'm going to make it racial, but let me not say that because Japan, they've been doing the same shit that I'm about to advocate for. They come in, they do some fuck shit, eradicate those bitches. Okay? Now, whether that means eradicate as in exile or eradicate as in shoot in the middle of the street because he's groping a woman who doesn't fucking need it, or beat him in the middle of the street because he's groping a woman who doesn't fucking want it, you know, eradicate that motherfucker. Okay? I'll send you to Allah faster than you can touch a tit. You understand me? Like, no, you don't get to fucking sit there and come into our countries. Okay, you do not get to sit there, come into our countries, and try to change us into some fucking Muslim super state. No, because quite frankly, the only thing that's going to happen is that Muslim super state is going to be a super huge pepper box. Okay? A super huge fucking tinder box. They're not the same thing. I said the wrong thing. Fuck it. It's going to be a huge tender box for a slaughter. And I'm not even saying that one way or the other. It could go both ways. The white people rise up and they become so anti-Islam that they kill on sight, or the Muslims win and then they start hunting down white people who do not convert to Islam. Both are completely reasonable and possible things to think about. And I don't want either one of them, because as much as I despise Islam, I don't want Muslims to die. I don't want Muslims to sit there and be killed simply because they're Muslim. I fucking hate Islam. But I don't want Muslims to die just because they're Muslim. I want them to come away from a false prophet, from an evil ideology that would rather rape a woman than help her get up and be smarter. That would rather sit there and blame a woman for being raped than help the woman get away from an abusive relationship, okay? That's what I would rather see. I would rather see stuff like that. I would rather see people encouraging each other, promoting each other, doing all that kind of jazz. But they don't do that in Muslim countries. They don't do that in Muslim countries. Because in Muslim countries, women are not people. Women are property. And people want to sit there and joke, be like, oh, what, you misogynist? And yet you support Islam. Do you know how misogynist Islam is? And you see, the part that bums me out the most is the fact that they're sitting there in Saudi Arabia and they're like, hey, a few years ago, we're going to go ahead and let women drive. You don't say. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say you're a couple hundred years too fucking late for that. For letting women to be able to participate in the same things that men do. And it's just one thing. It's not. Even if it wasn't just the one thing, you're far too late, bro. And you show zero sign of wanting to improve. And at a certain point, even God gave the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah what they wanted and destroyed them and cast judgment upon them. He did it to the Jews. He did it to everybody. At one point or another, he cast judgment whenever they kept hardening their heart and kept being evil and kept going away from him and kept pushing the boundaries of what it is to be a human and the evil that you can inflict on other people. Because think about it. All the stuff that we're complaining about now, it was happening tenfold in the fucking old world whenever, back in the Old Testament, the New Testament. Like, this stuff, it's just modern. And we can see more of it now because of the fact that we're, we have the internet. Because it's actually an interesting thing for me to think. I'm curious how many people knew about sex slaves and knew about slaves and, knew about that stuff before the internet. Because, unless you're reading history books, how would you hear about that? I guess it's not so outrageous to say, but I mean, you're in your own little town, you're doing whatever, you go to work, you come home, you watch TV, you do what you do, TV doesn't always have fucking that kind of politics and shit. But, I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. This was pretty fun. I like ranting to the camera. But also, I do it because I feel like it's important. It's important for us to sit there and go like, hey, we need to do something. We need to go out and do something. Because we're dying. We're being raped. And we're being replaced. And it's not a great replacement theory. No, it's the great replacement strategy. And it is currently being implemented in every single Western world because the people who are on the left want nothing more than Christian white men to be eradicated. Christian white people. Let me go ahead and say that. And Anybody who's white adjacent, right? If you're not Chinese, you're white, according to the left. So the Japanese, they're white. I guarantee you, the Vietnamese, the Laotians, the fucking Cambodians, the Siamese, the Burmese. Okay, I guarantee you, all of those are motherfucking gonna be considered white. Why? Because they're not only racist, they're also colorist too. Not only do they fucking despise white people because, oh, you're Caucasian, but if you even look Caucasian, you know, if you even look like a straight white man or a straight white woman or a Christian woman or whatever, if you look like their enemy, it doesn't matter what you are. They are going to eradicate you, destroy you, you know? And it is a convert or die mentality. If you do not say, "Hey, I am cool with kids being stalked, groped, fucking perved on in the fucking bathrooms, locker rooms, because I want a guy to feel comfortable to go into the women's restroom whenever he doesn't wear a dress, he doesn't change his hair, he hasn't shaved his beard, and quite frankly, the only thing that he does do differently is fucking put on makeup." But you want that degenerate fuck to be in the same bathroom as your daughter, as your wife, as your sister, your mother. Because think about it, those people, the only thing that they would do is, if they were given free full reign and nobody were to stop them, I guarantee you those kinds of people would have a harem of slaves. I guarantee it. Because it's what they're into. They're into the destruction of innocence. They're into committing these evil, vile acts. And hey, look, I ain't even going to lie to you. I got a CNC fetish, okay? I'll say that. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't ever wish the genuine thing onto another person. You know? I just like being rough. That's all. I like role playing. I would never wish that on somebody else because of how heinous it is, because of how horrible it is. And yet there's some people out there who are like, wait, you're gonna what? You're gonna get rid of private prisons? You're gonna release all of the criminals? You're gonna sit here and tell me that I can do whatever I want, even if it's illegal, and you're not gonna arrest me? I don't have a good Zoran Mamdani accent, but fucking something. Well, you know what? He's Indian. Who cares? And if he's not Indian, who fucking cares? I am telling you that is exactly what I am going to do. Okay. Well, yeah, let me go ahead and just collect my harem of sex slaves. And I know, like, people sit there and say, oh, well, you're being racist towards Zoran. No. Maybe. Maybe. But if I am, I don't give a fuck. You want to know why I don't give a fuck? Because he's made being Islam a whole part of his character. So, okay. But then he's also made being a communist a part of his character. And when he sits there and says, oh yeah, we can give you free this, free that, da da da, and then he brainwashes so many people into following him because something, I don't want to be an Islamophobe, which is a fucking horrible and made up word. I don't want to be an Islamophobe. I don't want to be seen as the enemy. Oh no, don't call me a Nazi. Fuck it, call me a Nazi and I'll wear an SS uniform. What's good? Hey man, I'm at that point now. I'm not a Nazi. I don't support the Nazi ideology. But at the end of the day, I am so hardened in people calling me a racist, Nazi, etc., etc. I am so like hardened to it, to where I am genuinely considering getting a Nazi officer uniform and just taking the swastikas off. You know, because they were stylish as fuck, and I would love to wear that. But no, if I do that, you're a racist, even though I am still not advocating for Nazism. And even then, they're the ones who promoted black only spaces. They're the ones who promoted kicking white people out of colleges just because they're fucking white. They're the ones who want to sit here and say that something white privilege because they're racists with guilty consciences. White people have been given such a better pass in life because you've been given a better pass in life because your fucking father is a millionaire. I said I was going to end this about 10 minutes ago. I should probably do that. But this is important shit, man. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm like, what is your problem that you're gonna sit there and have these kinds of ideologies, knowing that they don't work, knowing that you are gonna be destroying so many lives, so many. Because let me tell you this way, right? Ignorance is no longer an excuse. Ignorance is no longer an excuse. We are at a point now where there's so much history on the internet or books or just by living that you should be able to understand that, hey, these policies don't work. You ever heard of communist Russia? You ever heard of Nazi Germany? Have you ever heard of fucking the Great Roman Empire? And no, they were not fascist. They were not da 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 da. But they weren't perfect either. Okay? And they made a lot of fucking mistakes. And there's a lot of things that they did that we do not do because we understand that they were mistakes. Of course, I don't have any examples for you at the moment. Of course not. But you can't, like, if you're going to say that I'm wrong, that is a level of semantics that doesn't deserve any debate. Okay? If you're going to sit there and be like, oh, well, if you can't bring up an example of what Rome did wrong, then I'm not going to believe anything else you say. That's a fucking horrible, disgusting fucking way of playing semantics to where if you do something like that, instantaneously, you do not deserve respect. You do not deserve the light of day to be able to be sit there and talked to like a normal human being because the only thing you're looking for is to one up somebody with browning points and shit. And if you don't want to have a discussion, I'd rather just punch you in the face or leave. And quite frankly, I don't like to be violent unless you're being violent, so I would just probably just back the fuck out mid conversation, be like, "Oh, that's what you're gonna say, bye." And then people are gonna call me the asshole for it because something something. You need to sit there and listen to every single tiny little thing that they say and debate with them and be open dialogue with them when in reality the only thing that they want to do is fucking sit there and make you look like the bad guy, compare you to Nazis, compare you to Hitler, and then shoot you in the fucking head. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Not all of them want to shoot you in the head, only about half of them. And maybe it's more than that, but even if it wasn't, I guarantee you the rest of the ones that do not believe in the violence once you put in prison, once you put in some kind of camp where they can use you as free labor, as a kind of slave or some shit, man. I guarantee fucking to you these people have zero fucking remorse for anybody who's not in their group. And even the people in their own group, they would rather sell down the road than have them go down with them. There's zero honor, zero loyalty, and that's how they get so far ahead, man. They cheat the game, they fuck it, all the rules, all the laws, and then nobody does anything. So that's why I'm on here saying this. I'm gonna start streaming a lot more. I'm gonna start doing different stuff. My games or videos or whatever I'll be having on the screen is gonna be straight up, just me talking. Because this is straight up bullshit. And yeah, so that's it. I feel like I got everything I needed to get out. It's been a couple hours. I'll see you guys later. Danke sehr. And have a good one, guys. Have a good one.